What a treat it is. The highlight of the Combine every year. Gibbe finally has wrangled in the great Chris Simms. That's right. And we get a chance to talk to you. So first of all, how are you doing, man? Great to see you.
I'm great. I'm doing good. It's like I'm changing gears, right? I went from NFL, evaluating, the season, the teams, all that, the Super Bowl, and now I'm like, okay, now I got, 300-400 players I got to start to watch on film and start diving into that. So a little stressful, but cool. Always good to be here and start this process.
Is it fun, kind of, you've seen how this has grown just to become this media kind of massive event for the National Football League?
Definitely. I mean, what's what makes the NFL the king is that, we dominate, weeks like this where it's like we're not even playing and like it's still the number one thing in American sports, right? And from where it's gone from even my days of playing in the early 2000s, it's in a different stratosphere, the media coverage now. I mean, I was running the 40. It wasn't on TV at the NFL Combine. Nothing like that was going on.
I wish it was. It should have been.
There's like 75 different cameras just on the one race, let alone all the other cameras. So, it is grown, but I think it's pretty, it shows what the sport is in our country right now.
Another incredible season from the National Football League. You get Mahomes getting it done again, right. And now you got to start thinking about where he is historically, right? Winning 3 already. What'd you take away from that season and the Chiefs, who have kind of shifted into a new style team and still getting it done?
The Chiefs kind of switched into like Patriot mode this year. We're just going to win the game. We don't really care how it looks. If we have to win 10-3, if we have to win 17-14, so what? We'll win the game. They weren't always like that. No. They were always like, no, we're still going to throw it every play and 400 yards throwing no matter what. Even if you don't play defensive lineman, we're still going to throw it every play, right? And to me, that was interesting because it felt Brady and Patriot-like this year. Like, I've never seen a team play B-minus football all regular season and then get to January and go, we're going to play a Super Bowl level now. That's very rare. They're special. But it was a great year. It really was. It was a year where it never felt like there was sustained greatness from anybody. We had the Niners for a chunk of time. Then the Ravens knocked them off their pedestal. But then the end of the season came, and that wasn't a long extended time either. So it was a little weird that way. And, everybody let the Chiefs hang around, and they kept getting better and better. And like you talked about that quarterback. I mean, come on. That quarterback is already one of the all-time greats. He's one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in the history of football already. There's no doubt about that. What he's done, what he's been expected to do from day one in the NFL, nobody has ever had to do that. Maybe Dan Marino, right? But even Tom Brady, it was defense, run the ball, manage the game for the first 3 Super Bowls. They literally were like, go out there and carry the team from the start, and that's where it's a little different than most of them.
I grew up in the Bay Area, big Niners fan. I know you and I both share an affinity for Kyle. Yeah. It just was so hard watching because when they got the ball back down 3, it just felt inevitable. Like you knew Mahomes was going to do it, and then he did it.
Yeah, that's why, the Chris Jones pressure on the goal line on 3rd down was so huge because you just felt like, oh, man, field goal. I don't know if a field goal is going to get it done in this moment, right? Right, you want a touchdown and maybe make them force the 2-point conversion and see if you can win the ball that game that way. It's a tough decision. It really is. It is. The analytics. We're in the world of analytics, and it says it's 50-50, but yet my buddy Shanahan's getting crucified for something that the analytics say is right down the line. Now, I think, you do have to take into account who the quarterback is on the other side. The other thing I think people miss too is just that, it was a field goal game. Right? So he's thinking, hey, 3rd possession, I kick the field goal, we win the game in the overtime. And his defense was just on the field for 11 plays and a minute 50 seconds. They just did a CrossFit class. And I think that's hard to just go, hey, defense, go out there again and stop Mahomes, no problem. That was, a very tough decision, and I feel for them. They outplayed the Chiefs. Yes. But that's what's crazy about the Chiefs. They're the ultimate get-it-done team, and I feel like they've won 3 Super Bowls with probably being the lesser team on the field in all 3, but they find a way to get it done, and that's the grit of Mahomes and, of course, Andy Reid, who really instills it all.
No doubt. And now the great part about it, everybody here is it all begins anew, right? Back to 0-0, everybody on the same foot. Now, I noticed right before we got a chance to talk to you, you had the Bears general manager, Ryan Poles, and it feels like they're kind of holding the keys to really how this offseason is going to unfold with the Justin Fields trade potential, Caleb Williams. Did he give you anything in your interview?
No, but I would be shocked if they don't draft Caleb Williams at this point. Changing the offensive coordinator. Here's my biggest thing that I've been kind of saying for a number of weeks. Where did Ryan Poles come from? Kansas City. He saw them draft a guy here's a guy that's got a lot of the same skill set as Mahomes. Maybe not as big as Mahomes is, but Everything else is very similar. I haven't deep dived the quarterbacks yet. I have a little feel from them watching them on film, but not like I'm not ready to make rankings. But I expected to go there. They made an offensive coordinator change, right? I feel like GMs usually don't want to get fired or go down with, wait, I didn't even pick this quarterback, right? So all those things, and in my early look of the quarterback class, Caleb Williams kind of looks like there's separation from him compared to everybody else.
All right, so that's a little spoiler for what's coming your way here with the Bears.
It's making me feel like it's not as fun this year because it's like it kind of feels like, I watched about 50 to 80 throws on all the good players this weekend, right? The quarterbacks, the top tier ones. And I kind of came away going, I don't know. I think there's one guy, then there's a little bit of a drop. And we'll see where that goes. I thought that last year too. I had C.J. Stroud at a tier all by himself, right? But not everybody agreed with me. This one, it seems like I think everybody's kind of in consensus here with this one.
Well, the odd thing was it kind of felt like what had happened with Ohio State quarterbacks previously was being held against C.J. Stroud.
Stupid. What's coaches from 30 years ago that have nothing to do with, that quarterback did. Like, who the hell cares? What does that mean? Stop doing that. Just because they went to the same school does not mean it's the same person, the same way they were coached. There's a lot of things that go into that. I know it's a little ridiculous.
I personally would have been happier if C.J. Stroud was in Carolina instead of in Houston. We had to deal with him, obviously, in the playoffs. But Brown's season, kind of a magical season to go 11-6, 5 different quarterbacks, four quarterbacks won a game for the Cleveland Browns. From afar, watching it, Kevin Stefanski obviously got Coach of the Year for the second time in 4 years. What did you kind of make of this kind of wild Brown season?
I mean, awesome, really, in a lot of ways, right? I know it didn't end the right way, and it was that was a team with that quarterback and as aggressive as you guys play. It was one of the tougher matchups I think you would have saw in all the AFC playoffs because they weren't afraid to chuck it deep and take those chances because he's so awesome that way. But how could you not be in love? I have a man crush on the Browns defense. I mean, the whole year, if you listen to me on Football Night in America, my podcast, whatever, I was just like, oh my gosh, this defense. Now, were they a little aggressive at times? Yes, that was one thing. If you saw me on Football Night in America all the time, I was like, rein it in a little. Just, we don't have to go for the kill every play. But man, Jim Schwartz, what he did, phenomenal. Stefanski, the balancing still of the Deshaun Watson aspect and the injuries you had on offense and all that. How can you not just talk, high praise about what he did? So yeah, I'm as a football guy, I'm super excited where the Browns are as a team. I think you'll be right back in the mix of where you were last year. And, of course, the Flacco thing was magical at the end. It was a great story. But I had the same thing with him where I was going, will they just rein him in a little bit, right? It scared me. And, of course, it all came to fruition there on that Saturday afternoon in Houston.
It certainly did. You mentioned Deshaun Watson. And the last time we saw him, he played a flawless fourth quarter, didn't throw an incompletion, ran, led them back from down double digits in Baltimore. That's like why he was brought here. And then you're feeling, maybe we can go to the Super Bowl. And then by Wednesday, he's out for the season. What did you see from him, though, that gives you encouragement as a Browns fan, going into this year?
I feel like he got finally comfortable again. That would be the biggest thing. I know he's got the physical ability still, right? The arm's still there, fearless in the pocket, all of that, no concerns there. To me, it was kind of the things we talked about last year. It's just haven't played in a while. I don't care who you are. It ain't easy just to jump in there and go, hey, I'm the man again, right? And it just feels like every time I felt like, oh, here he goes. Oh, he hurts his shoulder in Indianapolis. Oh, here it goes. Watch out for Cleveland. And then he gets hurt in Baltimore. So that's the unfortunate thing. That's where I feel for him. But it did look like he turned the corner of, wait, I'm starting to feel like myself again, and I can make some plays and do that type of stuff. So hopefully he can grow on that. He gets healthy here and gets a full offseason under his belt.
I can tell you when, in the Baltimore, the setup is there's a very narrow walkway to come down to get to the buses when you're going out to the team buses, and I was out there, and that's exactly what he's like, I'm me again.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, he was gone for the year. But he'll be back. Yeah. And the Browns, I feel like, are doing some things that are clearly Deshaun-focused, bringing in Ken Dorsey with his background. What do you think that means for the Browns offense?
I just think it adds more to the versatility of the offense overall. I mean, we know Stefanski's still going to have his imprint and things that he does within the offense, but now, hey, some new ideas in the building, some new plays, some new looks, things like that. That, to me, is the thing that, I would be excited about Ken Dorsey. And then I think on top of that, Watson's got a lot of Josh Allen qualities. Can run, throw on the run, extend plays, do all that stuff. Strong arm. The field is, endless as far as where his arm can reach. So I think there's a guy there that's played with a guy like that and goes, wait, I could do this play with this guy. I can do that play. And I think that's where it's going to be, beneficial for the whole football team. I think it'll be even beneficial for Stefanski because he's going to go, oh, wait, that's how you did this? Oh, you do it like that? That's cool. And to me, that's what a lot of great coaches do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to see kind of the evolution of this Browns offense. Get you out of here on this one. AFC North. It would be nice for the Browns if they could just have a nice time in their division. Other teams could be maybe in their rebuilding phase. No. Ravens are elite. The Bengals are elite. Right. Steelers are still dangerous.
Yeah. Right.
What do you make of this division?
Well, it's brutal. It is. It's super talented. And, I have no doubt that you guys, the Bengals and the Ravens, will be back in the mix. The Steelers, I'm not ready to say that. Like you said, they're tough. They're gritty. Tomlin knows how to manage games. They're a pain in the butt. Yeah. But I don't think that their talent level is up there with the three that we just previously mentioned. Man, the AFC in general is brutal. I mean, it's as good as I've ever seen. So, you get your hands full. And that's why you get healthy, run the ball. That Deshaun gets back going like we know he can get going. I'd say watch out for Cleveland.